Welcome to TV Trash. So yeah, there's a Power Rangers movie coming out soon. Look, maybe I'll be wrong and this thing will be awesome, but I just don't see the point of making this, especially under the current circumstances. Why are you essentially rebooting the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers when Power Rangers the TV series is still on the air? It's only going to confuse younger viewers who might not know about the original series, and you risk severely pissing off the older fans who grew up on the original and don't want to see such a drastic change to it. Especially since Power Rangers is already about changing up the gimmick every single year, so that makes it even more pointless. However, just because I'm tepid on the new movie doesn't mean I claim that the original MMPR or Power Rangers in general is perfect. Let's be frank, there have been a lot of moments in the course of this meta-series that have been rather stupid. And that's going to happen with a show that has lasted for more than 20 years. Mistakes get made, and sometimes bad ideas get put through when smarter heads probably should have thought it through more. Now, for what it's worth, I have seen a number of similar lists like this posted online already, but almost all seem to be made by hardcore tokusatsu fans who directly compare the scenes on their lists to what happened in the corresponding Sentai series. I don't want to do that. Like Linkara, I've never watched Super Sentai, and I feel that any adaptive show should be judged on its own merits. Hell, many of the worst adaptations I've seen are when the American version tried to exactly duplicate the foreign original. Nothing on this list is stupid in comparison to Sentai. They're just stupid on their own. So may the power protect us all as we get into my picks for the top 10 dumbest moments from Power Rangers. Number 10. Alpha's Magical Christmas. I'm putting this one at the bottom because I don't think this was really meant to be in canon. A direct-to-video Christmas special that was first distributed just to members of the Power Rangers fan club, though it apparently did air on TV later. It was apparently an attempt to boost the popularity of Alpha 5's character. And boy did it backfire! The whole story is that Alpha is lonely on Christmas Eve, so Zordon actually allows him to bring other kids into the command center. Whether it was complaints that the episode was boring because there were no fight scenes, or bringing up the really creepy implications that a robot was essentially abducting kids to help him sing Christmas carols, this thing was derided by pretty much everyone. Oh, and the in-story reason why the Rangers aren't in this episode? They were off helping Santa get ready for his ride. Actually, why couldn't we have seen that instead? The Power Rangers stopping Lord Zed from destroying Santa!
Rito Revolto has taken over the North Pole.
It sounded good in theory, okay? But no, they gave their biggest fans a creepy, saccharine Christmas special that had quite a few of those fans wishing they'd gotten a lump of coal instead. Number 9. The rap theme songs. Probably what people most remember about Power Rangers, even those that never really watched the show, is the music. Remember, the nostalgia critic has made it clear he never liked Power Rangers, and even he admitted the original theme from Mighty Morphin was one of the catchiest TV themes ever. And thanks to the awesomeness of Ron Wasserman, each subsequent series had a new theme that had created its own identity, but was still very catchy and awesome. And then came the Bruce Kalish years, where everything started to really look like they were trying too hard to look trendy, including something that will be coming up later on this list. But for now, we're talking about the theme songs for the first 2 series produced completely under Kalish and how they tried to shoehorn rap into them. To be honest, it's really hard to determine which is more annoying. They're both actually similar in that they start off good, but then they completely punch you in the gut when the lyrics begin. But I would probably say that Mystic Force is a little bit worse because it starts with this instrumental that really invokes the mysticism and sorcery that the series is supposed to be about, and then it goes into this ear-bleeding techno-metallic tone with the singers. Mind you, Operation Overdrive isn't that much better, as it gets to you with just some of the dumbest lyrics ever. When I'm saying these lyrics are dumb when the original theme was centered around nothing but Go-Go Power Rangers, that is saying a lot. But yeah, the rap themes from Mystic Force and Overdrive. When ninja rap is better, you found a whole new way to fail. Speaking of which, number 8, the Ninja Turtles crossover. I talked about this one in detail in both my videos on the Ninja Turtles Next Mutation show, so I won't go too deep into this one. And to be honest, I wasn't sure if it should be on the list of dumbest Power Rangers moments, because 1, a crossover of this kind was not a bad idea in concept, and 2, it was the Turtles that got screwed over more than the Rangers on this one. However, it has to be here for one specific reason.
Hello? Cut me some slack. Knock, knock. The Power Rangers are just pretend, you know, comic book.
This is the type of meta humor that Thalos would bang his head over. So what, are the Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers both on TV in this world? Is someone actually filming the Rangers having to fight city-destroying monsters and their giant robots and then putting it on as entertainment? Why would the Rangers allow this to happen? Is Zordon too idealistic to lawyer up and file a cease and desist order? Or is he actually getting a cut from the TV revenue and that's how he's funded all his operations? The Ninja Turtles crossover. A great idea that went to crap by screwing the guest heroes and trying way too hard to be clever. Number 7. The numbered SPD suits. I've gotten mixed opinions about Power Rangers SPD, with some saying it was overall a dumb series and others saying it's among the best. Still, when I first watched episodes from it, there was just something off-putting about the Rangers' suits in this series, something that I just couldn't put my finger on. And then it finally hit me. The black areas on the left side of the suits. Those are freaking numerals! Each suit had a big damn number on the side, as if they were needed to identify each other. And yeah, this meant the numbers were on the suits for the Sentai as well, which just makes even less sense. Why put Western numerals on these things for a show originally airing in the Far East? Even for the Western adaptation, it's just goofy. Yes, the Rangers in Zeo were identified by numbers, but in that case they used shapes that symbolically represented each Ranger's number. That was pretty creative. This looks like the suits were designed by the Count from Sesame Street. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Rangers! The SPD's numbered suits. This series has been brought to you by the letter DUH. Number 6. Rita's first monsters. You never forget the first, and thus for many Power Rangers fans that started from the original, Rita Repulsa will forever be the most famous villain in the history of Power Rangers. But let's be honest, quite a few of the monsters she created in the first episodes of the series were just dumb. She had 10,000 years sealed up in that dumpster to try and lay out a battle plan, and this is what she comes up with. Probably the most infamous monster was Pudgy Pig, one that ate the Rangers' weapons and forced them to feed it a sandwich so spicy it made him throw up their weapons back. Was that episode written by Ren and Stimpy? And then of course we got the episode she created out of Kimberly's spinning wheel. And the rapping pumpkin monster. And then we had the Tickle Sneezer. The Tickle Sneezer. A monster that was created from one of Trini's dolls who talked like that horse from those biblical stop-motion cartoons, and whose name didn't even make sense because his skill was ripping off Brainiac by imprisoning things in bottles. And yeah, I know that one was all a dream, but still! With all this, it's no wonder Lord Zed took over Rita's operation in Season 2. In fact, I'd say the big question is, what the hell took him so long? Rita's first monsters. Maybe you should have waited until the headache subsided before crafting your next plan, Rita. Number 5. The Cell Phone Morphers. The Power Morphers are among the most iconic devices in the history of the series. How many of us who saw the original went to great lengths to exactly duplicate how the Rangers pulled out those belt buckles? As the years went on, the show creators came up with newer designs for the Morphers that for the most part worked well with each series theme. Heck, as many problems as the Turbo series had, at least powering their Morphers with ignition keys made sense in the context of their powers. And then came Wild Force, a series about the Rangers getting their powers from jungle beasts on a lost island. And they summon these powers from flip-top mobile phones. Seriously, they even hold them up to their ears and mouths in order to morph. It was bad enough for that one season. And then they proceeded to use phones as morphers 6 times in a 10-season period. And to me, RPM was the only one where it really made any type of sense. Okay, they at least did show in Mystic Force that the morphers were magic wands disguised as phones. And I know that wrist-based morphers have been used far more often, but using phones at all just seems like a lame attempt to look trendy. It's because of this that I'll actually cut Jungle Fury some slack for using sunglasses, because at least it was something different and they only did it once. I also cut them a break for using them in Super Mega Force because 1, that might have been Sentai footage, I haven't been able to verify that, and 2, that season was meant to honor the history of the entire Meta series. But that just reflects on the problem at large, that they used those objects so damn often that it made sense for them to use them in a tribute series. The Phone Morphers. Just dial 411 to get info on how to make a better morpher idea. Number 4. The inconsistencies in the power transfers. Looking back, it is pretty amazing that the original show was able to maintain the Mighty Morphin series for 3 seasons, but all things must change. Especially when you're paying your actors peanuts and they suddenly realize they don't have to take that. As a result, the show underwent casting changes even before they started changing the theme every year, but the way they handled the transfers of the Rangers' powers was muddled to say the least. When Jason, Zach, and Trini had to depart from the team, they crafted a huge 2-part story about how they needed to retrieve the Sword of Light from a distant planet in order to safely transfer the 3 powers to Rocky, Adam, and Aisha. It was not only an epic battle, but the original 3 got a great send-off. Then the next season, Kimberly left the squad, taking my heart with her, and she transferred her powers to Catherine by just handing over her power coin? Yeah, this is one area I don't agree with Linkara on, because I don't think this departure was handled well at all. They literally do not reveal that Kimberly is leaving until the end of that episode, and then it's just, here's my coin, you have all my powers now, good luck with that. This was such a big plot hole in not using the Sword of Light that it got turned into a plot device for how Kimberly gets her powers back in the recently published Power Rangers comic book series. At least it made more sense that Aisha was able to pass on the Yellow Ranger powers to Tanya, since they were getting new powers from the Zeo Crystal anyway. But then everyone just handed over their powers to new Rangers midway through the Turbo series. I mean, maybe they were using the Sword of Light and was just off camera then. But it was mostly the people we only met 2 episodes ago. And again, with almost no foreshadowing that the old Rangers were leaving until it was revealed in the very end. And trust me, that's only the start of Turbo being on this list. With the way these power transfers were handled over the course of 5 seasons, they were better off completely changing the series and cast every year, because eventually you get the feeling Zordon would just start advertising for new Rangers on Craigslist. Number 3, the change from Zeo to Turbo. Now we're getting to the ones everyone remembers and everyone's expected. Starting with the incident that began the most infamous season of the original run. Power Rangers Zeo ended with Rita and Zed destroying the Machine Empire completely and declaring that they were reassuming their place in trying to destroy the Rangers and the Earth. And what do they do to destroy the Zeo Rangers after that?
Nothing! Absolutely nothing!
The next installment of Power Rangers came in the theatrically released movie Turbo, a movie that was in canon with the main show when the first Power Rangers movie was not, and which didn't even last 3 months in theaters. In it, a whole new villain called Divatox shows up, and to counter her, Zordon gives the Rangers the all-new Turbo powers when there was no indication that the Zeo powers were not going to be a match for this new villain. There is literally no reason given for why they need them. As much flack as the first series gets for being cheesy and nonsensical, they did create epic story arcs for why the Rangers first needed to switch from the Dino Zords to the Thunder Zords, then to the Ninja Zords, and finally switching to the Zeo Ranger powers altogether. Now, for what it's worth, and I'm going completely by Linkara's History of Power Rangers series for this info, the Turbo movie was supposed to show Divatox destroying the Zeo Zords, and that the Turbo powers were the secret project that Billy claimed to have been working on throughout the Zeo season. But that part of the movie got edited out in post-production. A fair enough excuse for that, I suppose, but what the hell happened to Rita and Zed? They get one cameo in the Turbo movie where it's basically shown that they decided to not go after the Rangers after all. It's really bad when the best fan theory out there is that Rita got pregnant and so they gave up their plans in order to raise what would grow up to be Thrax. Ultimately, the way Zeo switched over to Turbo with no good explanation given caused a lot of fans to shift into disgust. Number 2, the giant pizza. Oh yes, people, this is only number 2 on the list. Be very afraid. But yeah, you all knew the dumbest moment for maybe the dumbest season of all was gonna be pretty high on the list. And just think about that. In a season that featured bad parodies of Pinocchio and Speed, this was the bottom of the barrel for most Power Rangers fans. And simply saying the Rangers get baked into a giant pizza is wall-banging enough, but that's only the tip of the iceberg as to this whole episode's lunacy. Divatox is accidentally transport beamed to Angel Grove and loses her memory in the process, leading to her working at a pizza parlor. Yeah, this was an amnesia plot! And it aired after both Honey, I Shrunk the Rangers and an episode where Catherine worries about getting fat. Was Turbo just rehashing all the stock cartoon plots from the 80s? Porto and Elgar decide to create a monster to distract the Rangers so they can rescue Divatox, but since even together they're dumber than Rita on her worst day, they make one out of the pizza parlor's mascot. A monster who flings pizzas that both act as missiles and take control of Lightning Cruiser and Storm Blaster before he traps them in the giant oven that Divatox makes for him. Oh yeah, Divatox got her memory back before the end of Act 1, so what was even the point? And the Blue Centurion has to save all of them before the monster eats the Ranger's pizza. Oh, and as a capper to all this, who the frack eats pizza with a knife and fork? I know I said I don't need to compare Power Rangers to Sentai, but I dare anyone to explain how the Sentai episode this footage came from was any better. Then again, the Car Ranger series Turbo was adapted from was kind of a parody, so whatever. But yeah, Rangers fight a pizza monster that bakes them into a giant pie. I mean, would you ever see the Ninja Turtles do something that idiotic?
I have the worst, Turtles. It's on me. Or better yet, it's on you.
Let's just move on to number 1. Scorpion Rain! But wait, you all say, that wasn't part of the real Power Rangers, it was all just a fan hoax. Well, bear with me on this one as I first explain to anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about. Remember the plot holes we talked about regarding Zeo crossing over into Turbo? Back around the late 90s, rumors began spreading online that there actually had been a 5-part miniseries called Scorpion Rain that was the real conclusion to the Zeo series and explained all of the plot holes regarding Rita and Zed and what befell the Zeo Zords. And this all-important concluding miniseries supposedly only aired in New Zealand. It took about 3 years, but eventually everyone realized the whole Scorpion Rain thing was one big hoax perpetrated by a couple of Power Rangers fans, and it could have just died out right then and there. And if it had, no way would it be on this list. Unfortunately, one of the perpetrators of the hoax, Amit Bomwick, went on to become the head writer of Power Rangers, starting with the Wild Force series. And when he created the episode Forever Red, he did it with the idea that Scorpion Rain was in canon. He publicly admitted this. Yeah! The 10th anniversary special for the franchise with an episode that had every single Red Ranger ever teaming up to fight the remnants of the Machine Empire, and an ascended fanboy used it as a vehicle to get his and his friends' fan fiction into continuity. I know that overall the episode wasn't that bad, aside from using costumes from Big Bad Beetleborgs for the Machine Generals, and how stupidly easy the Wild Force Ranger single-handedly took out Serpentera. And yeah, it's definitely better than how future anniversary shows turned out. But that one little detail that the head writer abandoned all professionalism to bring his old fan hoax back into light just grates on me. Yes, none of it would have happened had we seen an actual conclusion to the Zeo powers. But again, that was the fault of post-production on the Turbo movie, while the writers did craft an explanation. And I would hope that when someone gets the opportunity to become a professional writer, he would have learned the difference between fan fiction and actual storytelling. And the fact that Bomwick didn't once he got his dream job and abused his power like that is why I have no choice but to put his little fan hoax Scorpion Rain as the absolute dumbest moment in the history of Power Rangers. Sometimes I think these screenwriters actually show more fanboyism than internet critics. What's the sitch, Cecil? What? Oh, great! Genie, come back here now! Ow! Ha! Alright, guys, Statue of Liberty play! Huh? Ha! Well, those were definitely not Drex. They barely put up a fight. It's like they were just goading us or something. Something's going on. It's like we're being tested rather than being attacked. It's time. I need you. Next time, Rowdy reviews WrestleMania 15. Join Rowdy's Patreon to get the video now. Will be available on rowdyc.com and Manic Expression next Monday.